Okay, before you watch this video, you should have watched the video about concept maps, and I've given you a blank concept map to help you organize your information from this. That notes will be what you're going to turn in to have it graded before you move on. So you do want to make sure you have the blank form for the concept map available and ready to fill out as you watch this. Please pause and rewind as you need so you can get all the information. We're talking about careers in architecture, and this is a list of what we're going to talk about. There are 5 kinds of architects here that are these right here. Those will be our 5 main topics for our concept map. And we're going to start with what is architecture, and we've already talked about this a couple of times. And here's a quote that you can read yourself. I'm not going to read all these slides to you because I'm positive you can read, but pause and read it if you need. An important thing here is that architects are licensed professionals, and they have been trained primarily in art and science of building design. When we see the one on civil engineering, we'll see where the differences come up, and we've already talked about those a little bit. But they are licensed. They do have to pass exams and have college degrees in order to be architects. Here's a little bit about architects. You'll notice that 20% are self-employed. A license is required if you want to be an architect. And the architect licensing includes a degree from an NAAB approved school and at least 3 years of experience after school, and then you have to pass the exams. We'll see something similar when we look at the civil engineers for becoming a professional engineer. And as it says here, employment is expected to grow. Our population is growing. That requires our need for housing to grow as well. Architects mainly do a couple of things, and you can see them here. We're managing the structure, and job titles vary among firms. So someone who might be a lead architect at one firm may not be the exact same job as a lead architect at another firm. Smaller firms sometimes have one architect who fulfills all tasks, while it might be broken up more at a larger firm into different people with different responsibilities. This is our first type of architect you should put on your concept map, a design architect. Take a minute to read through these and make some notes on your concept map of the most important ones. You should concentrate on things like that a design architect is different from the other kinds because these are the ones creating the overall look and feel of the building. They're the one who's going to determine the architectural styles and features. They're concerned with the big picture and what the client is looking for. A project architect, how is this different? Well, they're concerned with functionality. Can the building actually be built? They make sure that the buildings are put together correctly. And they make sure that we're meeting the codes. We'll talk a lot about codes and zoning this year, but this falls under a project architect's title. Construction administrators. They're the ones that are going to actually oversee the construction. And they're working very closely with designers and architects. Then, not actually an architect, but a draftsperson. They work with the architect to put the design into the computer. We're going to be using Revit this year, so we're going to learn some of the skills that a draft person would need. And they're often beginning or interning architects. So this might be what you're doing in your first 3 years before you've actually passed your architect's degree, your architect's licensing. And then we have landscape architects. They're the ones that are going to be working on the outside area. Outside of homes, as well as we can see here in the list, parks, play areas, and other outdoor areas that we use for recreational activities. So that concludes our architects. Be sure that you rewind, pause, and go back and get information about all 5 kinds so that you know the information. All right, that's it.